and welcome to the 49ers First and 10 podcast. 10 minutes of the most up to date 49ers news first thing in the morning. I'm your host, Brianna McDonald, and I'm joined by 49ers team reporter, Lindsay Polares. The 49ers preseason came to a close on Friday night following the team's matchup against the Los Angeles Chargers. San Francisco fell 23-12, but the final score wasn't the biggest takeaway in this last game. We saw some more action from the team's starters to open up the contest, and quarterback Sam Darnold stepped in to lead the team for a majority of the game. Lindsay, what did you think of the 49ers preseason finale?
Yeah, there was some good and some things to improve upon, but one thing that definitely was an encouraging sign was seeing that first team offense once again kick things off, like you mentioned, quarterback Brock Purdy under center, and for a little bit longer in this game, that first team offense actually ended up going a couple drives. And again, we just saw Brock Purdy lead the huddle and lead the team down the field very well. He went 5 of 9 for 73 yards and actually ran in a 5-yard touchdown to put San Francisco up early. Obviously, things didn't quite pan out in terms of final score. But again, just what you want to see from that first team offense. There's great chemistry between Brock Purdy and his pass catchers. He was distributing the ball all over the place. So we saw Kyle Juszczyk, Deebo Samuel, Jordan Mason, and Brandon Ayuk all catch passes from Purdy. And then again, we saw a really solid day from Darnold, again playing for, like you said, a majority of that game. He went 6 of 11 for 89 yards and a touchdown. He closed it all off with 111.6 passer rating. And he had a beautiful pass to Chris Conley for a 34-yard gain, and then a touchdown throw to Willie Snead. So again, just things you want to see from your first and second team offense. Also, we saw the defensive starters for a hot second, and in 3 plays, Fred Warner managed to get a sack, which was also really great to see. It was on 3rd and 12 for a loss of 10 yards that forced a 3-and-out on the Chargers side. So again, good things coming out of that preseason game, but also other headlines that will now play into the course of the next few days.
Yeah, there is unfortunately a list of injuries coming out of this game. And before the contest even started, the team had to navigate not having a healthy kicker available. Lindsay, what's the state of the kicker position like as of now?
Yeah, and a kind of weird turn of events. The 49ers went from having 2 place kickers on the roster to 0, since both kickers are actually dealing with some injuries that are likely to keep them out and not ready for week 1 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So rookie Jake Moody is expected to miss a few weeks. Rookie kicker Jake Moody is expected to miss a few weeks due to injury. He suffered a right quad strain during practice leading up to that preseason finale with the Chargers. And then Gonzalez actually injured himself in pregame warmups. He's dealing with a calf strain. Neither of them were able to enter the game. And now it looks like head coach Kyle Shanahan is going to have to look to outside options to fill that gap until either one of them is ready.
There are some additional players that have been dealing with injuries over the course of last week and after Friday's game. What does that list look like?
The injury list is rather long, but the timelines on many of these players are trending upward. So I think that's kind of the silver lining here. Running back Elijah Mitchell is dealing with a tight adductor. So with him, different from everybody else on this list, he was kept out of a few days of practice early last week, just out of precaution because of just some of the stuff he's dealt with in the past. Like we mentioned, kicker Jake Moody dealing with that quad strain. He's week to week, likely not ready for week 1 of the regular season. Wide receiver Chris Conley is dealing with a shoulder injury. He's day to day. Running back Jordan Mason suffered a foot sprain. He is day to day. Cornerback AJ Parker has a hamstring injury. He's out likely for a few weeks. Kicker Zane Gonzalez, again, a calf strain, will likely miss a few weeks. Safety Taylor Hawkins suffered a fractured hand. He is going to require surgery. Timeline for him will be revealed after that procedure is done. Tight end Cameron Latu, the rookie, is dealing with a meniscus injury and will also most likely need surgery. And then safety Talanoa Hufanga actually skipped out on a portion of practice last week. He was dealing with a Baker's cyst. He's expected to be back soon. A Baker's cyst, from what I looked up, is essentially some fluid buildup in the back of the knee, but he's had the treatment he needs. And again, head coach Kyle Shanahan said he should be good to go soon.
All right, well, in the lead up to the 2023 NFL regular season, all 32 teams must trim their rosters to a total of 53 players by 1 p.m. Pacific time tomorrow on Tuesday, August 29th. The 49ers currently have 85 players on their roster, and defensive lineman Taco Charlton is listed on the team's injured reserve list. Lindsay, will the injuries coming out of Friday's game play a part in the construction of the 49ers' final 53-man roster?
Yeah, head coach Kyle Shanahan said that they absolutely will. There's going to be some evaluation of which players will need to go on the injured reserve list, which can avoid it. And also, just for everyone's information, IR is an interesting topic because players must initially be placed on that 53-man roster before they can be placed on injured reserve. And then once you are on injured reserve, that means that you have to miss those first 4 weeks of the regular season. So there will be a good amount of deliberation on those players that are dealing with those injuries that might be longer than a week or two.
Yes, and the team waived a few players ahead of NFL roster reductions and made some moves on Sunday. Lindsay, can you update us on that list?
Yes. So as you mentioned, there were 5 players that were waived ahead of that Tuesday deadline. They are cornerback Nate Brooks, defensive lineman Ladarius Hamilton, defensive lineman Breland Speaks, linebacker Kiyava Tizino, and defensive lineman Spencer Wagee.
Okay, on a separate note, one of the biggest storylines we've been following throughout the preseason is the 49ers quarterback position, and some news was confirmed over the weekend that the 49ers traded quarterback Trey Lance to the Cowboys in exchange for a fourth-round pick in the 2024 NFL Draft. This news comes after head coach Kyle Shanahan announced Sam Darnold as the team's backup QB. Lindsay, it's hard for the team not to acknowledge that this decision was challenging. How did this whole situation play out?
Trey Lance unfortunately dealt with a couple injuries during his first 2+ seasons here in San Francisco. He was coming off back-to-back seasons that were either affected or shortened due to injuries, and that was first the finger injury from his rookie season, and then the fractured ankle in week 2 of that 2022 season. As you mentioned, he was named the number 3 quarterback earlier last week, and from that point forward, Trey Lance, his representation, and the 49ers came together and they found a landing spot for him that would not only afford him more playing time, but also be a mutually beneficial decision for the organization moving forward.
Trey Lance was a highly regarded member of the locker room, and that was reflected by the 49ers leadership. Here's general manager John Lynch.
Love the kid. Kyle and I, when we broke the news to him today, saw him light up a little bit, and he loves it here. He was very appreciative of the opportunity, like Trey, typical Trey. He apologized to us, and there was nothing for him to apologize for. And we're happy that he's got a spot, and the Cowboys came up big, and I think that's an indication that they're excited to have him, and we're excited for Trey's new opportunity, and we'll always be big fans.
All right, well, thank you so much, Lindsay, for joining me on today's episode, but that will do it for today. Be sure to look out for all of our content on 49ers.com. Don't forget to follow First and 10 on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Be sure to turn on the notifications so you're in the know when we post any breaking news updates. And thank you, Faithful, for tuning in.